Well, here we are doing a little preseason scouting, early season, the summer months, and I do most all my scouting this time of year in the evening. Basically what I'm doing is I'm driving to the end of the farm, and we're going to be scouting basically the crop fields and the food sources. But I'm going to go down to the end of the farm, and I'm just going to kind of ease my way back up to the farmhouse, and we're going to stop in some of these different fields and basically just glass. We're just glassing deer. A couple of deer out in the hayfield right now, and it's hot, but they just cut this today, and I can smell that fresh alfalfa. Got to have that food. There's no acorns yet, and this is deer candy to them right now. We're out in an alfalfa field here, and it actually just goes and breaks up over the hill here. And there's usually deer on the other side, so I'm just going to kind of ease up to one of these hay bales, and I'm going to glass over the edge just to see what's out there. But as I get closer to season, now I'm looking for those bucks because their antler growth is pretty much completed, and at that point I can tell what bucks I have, and hopefully compare them to some of the trail cams that I had from last year, and I'm also paying attention at that point where they're coming to, where they're spending their time. That'll tell me where kind of the travel route of that deer. But right now these deer are just coming out in the evening to feed, and it's just a lot of fun to see them. One of the most important tools that I use this time of year for scouting, obviously, is a good pair of binoculars. So whatever you're using, make sure you have a good quality pair of binoculars when you're doing your early season scouting, because you're doing a lot of glassing in low light. See, they've got to have this new growth. These does, they have to have that new growth for lactating purposes. This alfalfa gives them a great supply of milk for those little ones. And know that in a few months I'll be in a tree stand waiting for them to come walking by. Hi, I'm Rick White, and today I want to share with you an easy but great tasting deer backstrap recipe. And it's really quite easy. The first thing I do is I just coat it with olive oil. I've got a backstrap here that I took from a deer last year. It's all cleaned up, ready to go. I just put a little bit of olive oil on it just to keep it from sticking on the grill. Just rub it on there. That's the first step. The next thing I do is I want to cut a pocket out of this backstrap. All right? Now I don't want to go through the other side. I just want to cut a pocket right down the middle. You can see how I'm opening that up. Once I've got that pocket cut open, and there's not any science to this, it's just pretty simple. Just try not to cut your finger. Now, I want to fill it with blue cheese and garlic. And I've got some blue cheese here. And really, how much of it just all depends on how big a backstrap you have. I just dump some in and fill it up. There's no exact measurement. Got the blue cheese in there. I use minced garlic. And just put a little bit of minced garlic in there. And if you like garlic, just add a little bit more. And just kind of push it in. Get it right in that pocket. Close it up. And the next step, now you could either tie it or you can use toothpicks and basically just close it up. I just use the toothpicks because it's easy. It's really simple. And one more for good measure. So there it is, all ready to go. Next step is just throwing it on the grill. Now it's just a matter of cooking it the way you like it. Me personally, I like my steaks medium rare, but you can cook it however you like. Here in just a minute, we'll check it. Good evening, everybody, and what's that, Paul?
Go.
Huh?
We're ready. You're live.
Oh, well, yeah, I thought you shook your head. Some more technical difficulties. Anyways, welcome to tonight's episode of On the Hunt with Alpine Optics. And hey,
been a
maybe
while.
it's gonna be one of those nights, huh?
It's been a while.
It has. Well, it has. You know, listen, so the last, I think, 3 weeks, we had things come up. 2 ice storms down in Arkansas enabled you guys to be in the office. So that was.
I had a family emergency.
Yep. And then, and whatever, I don't remember what the other thing was. Something, I think something couldn't be there. And anyways, you know, hey, it's been a little while, but we are here today and we're live. And I'm in Iowa, and our special guest, the king of pain himself, Mr. Wingbones, Edwin Schertz, is also in Iowa. Edwin, how you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing great, Rick. I stepped outside the house today, and that spring weather, I wanted to put on my rubber boots and go hiking, man. I mean, it was a beautiful day today.
Well, I mean, this weather is unseasonably warm, and if this doesn't get you kicked into turkey season, I don't know what does. And we're going to talk a little bit about everything tonight, but we're going to talk some turkey hunting as well. But, you know, Edwin, just a few weeks ago, we were at the turkey show down in Nashville, the National Wild Turkey Federation convention. And Bresser and Alpine, we had a booth there. And I know you had some calls and we had some videos and some different things, but it was quite a show. Surprisingly, the numbers were down a little bit, but surprisingly, the numbers were fairly well, and we actually did pretty good.
Yeah, we did. It was quite the show. We had several people come by the booth and stand and talk to you and I for hour at a time, and then the next day they showed right back up. And then one gentleman talked to us for about an hour. The next morning they showed up. They bought, I think, 3 or 4 calls off me, went around the corner, bought some stuff off the Alpine booth, and it was great seeing all the different call makers, all the different products and merchandise that's out there, not just for turkey hunting. Them gravity chairs that were next to the booth down around the corner from us, did you get a chance to sit in those?
I saw them. I never did sit in them.
Man,
I saw
they've got some kind of patent, the way that thing swivels, and it just feels like you're floating on air, man. That was one of the cool things at the show.
So, well, that's cool. That's cool. Now, you know, this was a consumer show we were doing down in Nashville, which kind of leads me into this coming weekend. We actually have another consumer show, this time in Des Moines, Iowa, and it's the Iowa Deer Classic, and we're going to be there. Alpine Bresser's going to be there. You're going to be there with some calls. I'm going to be there with some calls and some videos, and we're just going to be selling product and talking to people and just talking hunting. Now, I've got 2 seminars, one on Friday and one on Saturday, and I don't know the exact times, but anyways, if you're coming to the Iowa Deer Classic, I'd love to see you in my seminars, and we may even have a thing or two to give away at the seminar. But, you know, the one thing that I really like about Alpine and Bresser is not only the folks that we get to spend time with, but they have such a wide variety of products, and we go to these shows with some really good deals. So they could, if you're at the Deer Classic this coming weekend, I mean, you can expect some really good deals on some really good quality products.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't found a product that I don't like looking through. Everything they make has pleased me for sure.
All right. Well, with turkey season right around the corner, and you being a custom turkey call manufacturer, what are you going to have at the show this weekend?
I got a brand new call. I talked to you about it a little bit. I haven't released any information on that, but I've got a custom call set with this wood pattern here. This is cherry and walnut. It's a slate over slate, two-sided call, and I am going to custom laser engrave On the Hunt with Rick White, Alpine Optics, and it's going to be a set of 1 of 5 with Rick's signature on there that you can pick up at the show only. These are not going to be on the website or anything else. There's only 5 of these. I've also got the brand new call for 2022 that was a huge hit in Nashville, and that's my copper call. Copper over slate. It's a two-sided call. I call it the king of soft talk because the quieter you get, the better it sounds. Now, Rick, you said something about me being a custom call maker, and I never have any ideas or anything to show you about a custom call. Now, a custom call is a memory you might have made with your son, your granddaughter, your grandson, your wife. And you can take this photo that you have a memory of and you can put it in a call. Here is an example of a custom call that was just ordered. This is a photo that's getting ready to go into a call tomorrow morning. And I'm going to be mailing that out next week as soon as it dries. If it doesn't sound good after it dries, if something happens in the drying process and it causes that call to go dull, I'm going to cut it up. I'm going to print a new picture. I'm going to put it on a new soundboard. I'm going to make a whole new call. I'm not going to send it. If I wouldn't use it, I can't expect you to.
Right. So basically, someone could take just about any photo, get it to you, and
Right.
you could put it into a call.
Right, right. And the key thing to remember is whatever your subject matter is on the photo, have it back in the photo a little bit. If you bring everything up to the front, I have to cut that thing into a little 3-inch disc. So if you bring that photo and the subject matter all the way up, you're gonna lose part of that.
Hey, yeah, you've got really nice fingers there, Edwin.
Thanks. I was trying to demonstrate. how if it's too close to the front.
What do we got, Paul? What?
I don't know. You guys are saying it's.
Yeah, it's work. I'm sorry. They were ugly hands.
You know, hey, the other thing you could do with that copper call is you could stand on one mountain and signal a guy on another mountain or maybe another state, and you could send signals back and forth.
Right, right.
But so anyway, so tell me, Edwin, let's talk a little bit about calls. Not so much how you make them. I mean, I know you take your calls and you turn them from a solid block of wood. But when a hunter comes up and they want to buy a turkey call, and there's so many different options, what do you tell the average hunter? I mean, what does he want to buy? And explain the differences in surfaces and what they accomplish.
Well, the first thing I'd like to know from a certain individual is what's their level of hunting? How long have they been using a friction call? Because if they haven't been using a friction call for very long, a slate call is where you want to start. They're so forgiving when you make mistakes with the striker because it's all about your pressure coming down onto it and the movement that you're making. And on a glass call or the copper or the aluminum per se, those are easy to skip and make a screeching sound that's not a normal turkey sound. So I would recommend a soft calling surface to start with, like a slate. A slate call is a very forgiving surface. And then as you advance and get a little bit better at the calling and you know your pressures and everything, I would move on to glass or crystal. There's even ceramic calls out there. I haven't got any ceramic calls. That's about the only surface I don't mess with right now. But I would start off with slate as a beginner.
Boy, you'd have to get it killed, right?
Yeah,
killed?
Absolutely. Well,
Or your ceramic calls.
No.
No, I got a supplier that provides me with the calling services. I pay for services. They cut them out of ceramic for me, and then I just glue them in. I just haven't made a ceramic call yet to get the sound right, but I'm sure it's something in the future.
Well, it looks like Ron Toth, he says, is there a way to make a base picture call because I don't like scratching up the
With my
No,
two-sided
answer
calls,
no.
with my two-sided calls, I can put the picture on a slate to where when you flip it over, like take this call, for example, I've put in one of my stickers on and a feather in it. But when you flip it over, there's slate on the bottom, and you don't have to scratch the top surface. You can always run the bottom side, but you're going to be limited on the calls you can make, because that slate on the bottom, Rick, you know, with your aluminum over slate, it's a softer sound. It's more for quiet type calling, but you can do so much more loud and get so much more aggressive on the top.
So, yeah, you know, Ron brings up a good point. Edwin has made me some custom calls and I mean, some, you know, with some photos in them. And quite honestly, they're just going on my shelf. They're not going to the turkey woods because they're too pretty to rough up. So maybe when you get a custom call, you just buy another call so that you've got a matching set. One has a photo, one doesn't. Take that one to the woods, and you've got a photo for life, you know, for sure.
Now,
But, you know,
I do know that Jordan Dean, he wants to talk about crappie fishing.
well, tell Jordan Dean he needs to come on the show some week, and we'll talk crappie fishing. So
Well.
it's turkey season's around the corner. Of course, crappie fishing is right now too, and the ice is melting here in Iowa, and people are going to start getting out. And Jordan Dean is a crappie fishing machine. I mean, I try to spend some time with him every now and then because he usually has bags on top of bags of crappies, and so there's
Michael McDonald says that he can't fish.
Oh, well, there's
Jordan
another crappie fisherman. I'm actually, Mike McDonald lives out in Kentucky. I'm going to be turkey hunting with Mike this spring, and he tells me we're going to go crappie fishing. So I hope he lives up to the end of the.
Michael McDonald also said that when you put your hand up against the camera, that you looked great.
Thanks, Mike.
You know, Mike and I actually are starting my turkey season off this year. We're heading down to Florida. He and I are going to be hunting together, and the two times that I've been down there with him, we've done very well. So I'm hoping that that continues as well. But you know, in a nutshell, Edwin, you know, the bottom line is every different surface and every different striker sounds like a different turkey. So you can take one call and three different strikers and have three different sounding turkeys. You could take two calls with three strikers and you got six sounding turkeys. I mean, so it's really kind of unlimited, and it just doesn't end. I mean, there's so many different options, and I like the slate calls for the soft content calling, but your slate call also has a quality that allows you to get aggressive and reach out there. Now, one of my favorites, and you know this, is your aluminum call over slate. And I'm telling you right now, if you're looking for a call and you don't have an aluminum call, you're going to want one. I mean, it's that good. Look how pretty those calls are.
Talking about those calls, Rick, I forgot to mention those. We went to Nashville and we made a set of 10. I have 2 of those left. I have, I think, number 9. The other one's in the case. This is number 9 of 10 and number 10 of 10 that you have signed. We're going to have those at the Iowa Deer Classic, and this is your favorite call, the one you're talking about right now.
That's it, and there's only 2 of them. So if you're coming to the Classic, you better get there on Friday because they're going to be gone Friday.
These calls right here, I know personally, have been responsible for a lot of funeral processions in the turkey woods at the hands of Rick White.
Yep, there you go. So, you know, we're doing, I'm doing a couple of seminars, and I'm going to talk Edwin into giving me a call to give away in each seminar. And I've already talked with Lance over at Alpin, and he's going to give me a couple of things to give away in those seminars as well. So, you know, we're going to, if you don't come to the seminar, you can't win some neat free stuff. So make sure you come because we're going to have a lot of fun. Plus I'm going to teach you the basics and some advanced strategies and, you know, A to Z on turkey hunt. I mean,
right. I was just going to say that, man. I mean, I've been to your seminars, Rick, and I'll tell you what, I've learned a lot from listening to you talk to people at the booth over the years. And I've went to your seminars like 3 or 4 different times. I think I've seen them, you know, several times where I know them in and out. And I still get a kick out of your knowledge of the turkey. I mean, man, I learn something new every time I'm around you and we talk turkeys. I catch it out of the side of my ear while we're standing there talking to people and hearing you talk and the way you interact with people and the way they interact with you. I saw people at Nashville standing in that line for a half hour, or 45 minutes because they wanted to talk to you. That's awesome stuff, man. That's
it's a good, it's a good feeling, and you know, you just try to pass on what you do know. And when I started turkey hunting, I knew nothing about it, and if there wasn't people out there trying to give me some advice, I wouldn't be here today, you know, doing what I'm doing. So
right.
What would you say is one of the common mistakes that a lot of turkey hunters make in the turkey woods? What would you? I mean, there's lots of things that can go wrong, and I still make mistakes. But
well, you know as well as I do, when that gobbler's committed and he's coming in gobbling, and now every circumstance is different. So what I say here is not 100%, but it's what I've experienced. When that gobbler comes in gobbling, there comes to a point where he quiets down, he starts spitting and drumming. A lot of new hunters, they think he's given up interest, and they don't hear the spitting and drumming. They don't know what to listen for. So they'll get up and move, and then they spook that bird, or they'll miss their opportunity. I think that is the number one mistake, is not when that bird goes quiet, is not sitting there long enough. And I try to give him a half hour, 45 minutes after I make my last call before I get up to move.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about patience, and that's
right.
And patience, just a lot of people don't have the patience, and patience will make you more successful pretty much more than anything else you do. So,
I'm in my 20th year. Yeah.
What?
I say, do we have any other questions popping up? These guys that are on there, start asking.
I think
questions.
mostly they're just razzing each other.
Yeah, they're bragging about themselves is what they're trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's got the flippin'est jig?
So, all right, Edwin. Hey, what's your favorite way to prepare and eat wild turkey?
My favorite way, I have Pat Muffler. When I was up there at his place, we took the breast off one and we sliced it up with flour. We fried it in grease, peanut oil, to be exact. And he used what he calls a self-rising flour, so it's not a regular flour. So you use a different flour, and it gives it a nice, lighter, crunchier, crispier coating. Dip that in ranch. Man, I can eat just that. Don't need no sides or hors d'oeuvres or nothing. That is delicious.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good ways to eat wild turkey, and I know at some point, I think, Paul, can they get on our website and actually see some of the recipes we've done, or is that just something?
Let me see real quick.
If not, we ought to have that on our
Live
website.
show. Oh, yeah.
So
on the hunt recipes, and here they are.
yeah, so BresserUSA.com or Alpen.com. You can go in and check out our website, and there's some recipes in there. There's some really good deals on a lot of stuff. So don't be shy and make sure you go in and check that stuff out.
Sure.
Edwin, let's talk a little bit about safety, because you know, in my seminars, for instance, that's the first thing I talk about is safety. And you know, the colors that I recommend people stay away from are really red, white, and blue, because those are the colors that you just shouldn't wear them to the turkey woods. Okay, but how many times have you ever been out? I know, Edwin, you hunt some public ground. Okay, have you ever had a hunter come walking in on you, or have you ever walked up on a hunter?
I've been out there and seen people out there wearing red, you know, no orange vest during deer season. I know it's not turkey season, but you know, some people just don't follow the rules, and it's like they're first time hunters. They haven't been educated, or they think because they're, you know, they might be the only ones there or something. That I don't know what people think, but yeah, I've ran across some crazy stuff. I've been sitting there, like when I first started turkey hunting over 20 years ago, I was sitting there calling one time. I had my decoys out in the field, and these guys come up out of this private land over onto the public. They saw my decoys. They hunkered down, sat there and called to me. And I thought, well, I'm going to mess with them for a little bit. So I started calling back to them. And then these jokers started belly crawling towards me. And that's when I said, I'm done, because they got guns, you know, and I'm sitting here off to the side in the edge of the woods. I laid my gun down, my calls down. I jumped up, went out by the decoys, started, hey. And that's when they jumped up, you know what I mean? And they had already belly crawled like 50 yards. And I was like, no, and they dipped down over this little rise in the field. It kind of scared me and made me nervous. So safety is one of my number one concerns. I've always wanted to sneak up on a bird with that tail fan, you know, and poke the gun through. But I don't have the guts, because I'm afraid somebody's going to be sitting out there in the woods and see that and mistake it for a real bird. And then I'm going to get shot in the face.
Yeah.
Well,
let me
Andrea, the lady that I've been, she's my friend, my very good friend. Her dog ran out and came back with a wound. And the reason I had the wound is because a neighbor wasn't paying attention. I guess they were turkey hunting, and they shot her dog.
Wow.
Well,
And he paid for all the vet bills, but still, I mean, it's
How do you mistake a dog for?
Yeah, that should never happen. And it's a non-educated turkey hunter probably. And I would also add this: if you ever do have someone that comes walking in on you, and it can happen on private ground, before you get up and move, just in a natural voice, you just say, "Hey, I'm a hunter. I'm over here." Get their attention so that they know you're a person, because the first thing that a lot of people like to do is start waving, and that's when they get shot sometimes. So you've got decoys up, and they've been hearing some calling, or maybe a gobbler over the hill, and they're slipping up, and they're in the moment, and you start waving. I mean, that can sometimes cause problems. Now it shouldn't, but it can. So just get their attention in a natural voice. Don't be waving at them. And once you have their attention, then get up and go ahead and go ahead and have that confrontation if you need to at that point. So and then of course, when you're carrying your gun, make sure you keep it pointed away from any kind of potential problems, people, and when you're crossing
and the
fences,
basics.
Yeah, I mean, it's all
crossing a fence or crossing a log.
That's right.
Set your gun down.
Yeah, well, we had a guy in Iowa. This has been several years ago, and this was deer season, but they actually leaned the gun up against the fence and went and crossed it, and the gun the vibration caused from crossing the fence, the gun slid down, shot, and killed the guy. So it can happen. Just lay it on the ground underneath the fence and climb over, and then get your gun. Don't worry about it getting dirty or whatever. You can clean
Gun
it. But
safety 101 though too is if you're gonna lay your gun down, clear it.
Yeah, that's the number one thing.
Certainly can.
That is the number. Paul, you're right. That's the number one thing they teach you in hunter safety. If you're going to lay your gun down across the fence, they tell us to unload the guns. But Rick, honestly, I lay my gun down all the time at a fence. But do I take the time to unload it? No, I point the gun away from me where I'm going to be crossing, and I lay it. I take my coat. If there's snow or water, I'll lay the coat down and lay my gun on the coat, away from me.
Yeah.
Now, am I doing it proper? No, probably not. Like Paul said.
You make sure the safety's on.
Yeah, that's perfectly adequate. Perfectly adequate, especially if you're by yourself. Yeah, not a problem.
Right.
But don't lean it
if
against
you are by yourself, you may want to take even more precautions, because if the accidental discharge, it does happen, and there's no one out there to save you if you're by yourself.
Right.
I will tell you this: just keep the muzzle pointed away from you, and you'll never get shot. Okay.
Right.
There you go. So
Famous last words.
Yeah, exactly. Edwin, what's your go-to call? What's your favorite call? I mean, everybody's got their favorite calls, but I don't know if I know what your favorite call is.
Well, up until this year, my go-to call has been the Gray Ghost, the one I call the Gray Ghost. It is like your favorite call, the aluminum over slate, except it's a one-sided call in a walnut pot, and it's aluminum over glass. And I have won several friction titles in the state of Iowa competing against other competitors, but I've killed countless birds with that call. I never go to the woods without my aluminum over glass. I just love that call. But my new call, the new favorite I have, it's that Copper John. I just love the sound of it. I will be taking that to the woods with me.
Now, you could come to the Deer Classic this weekend if you are coming, and stop by, and Edwin will be glad to run these calls. Now, if you're not in Iowa and you're not going to the show, you can also go to his website where he has different calls being used. And what's your website, Edwin?
Well, it's www.mrwingboatscalls.com. We're right now revamping the website, so it's currently under maintenance. I should have it up and running within the next couple of weeks. But you can go to my Facebook page. There's numerous videos and countless videos on there where they can hear a lot of these calls that we have discussed tonight.
Well, that's fantastic. So the Deer Classic is this weekend. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And Sunday, there's a calling contest.
That's right. There's a calling contest. If you've never been to one and you're going, you really should come and watch it. And yours truly, I get to MC the contest, so I'm looking forward to that. And Edwin is actually going to be calling in the contest. So, it's really kind of neat
something
thing.
you don't know about that you guys. I always kind of try to prove that I'm somewhat of a hunter, or I have a little bit of stuff with you guys, because I'm not like you. I'm not into it as big as you guys are. But I've hit the National Duck Calling Junior Championship when I was a kid and won that.
That's cool. That's cool. That's
I like ducks. We got to talk more ducks. We never talk ducks. I like ducks.
well, we do talk ducks, but it's a fall duck season. We got.
Honestly, Paul, I've done very little duck and goose hunting. And the times that I've gone, it's very exciting. They come in, you're trying to shoot them. I think I've killed a couple wood ducks and maybe what's that black duck, Rick? The coot?
Yeah, you shouldn't have said that. Your Facebook page is going to be lit up tomorrow.
May not be a duck.
Like I said, I'm a turkey hunter and a deer hunter.
How tasty was that coot?
Oh, I gave it to my buddy. He said he liked it. I gave it to him. My dad said he didn't want it. It was too greasy.
My favorite thing about the duck hunting is just the dogs and the training, and then you get to call them in, and you got to be specific. You can't really wing it too much with ducks.
Right. And that's kind of like where turkey hunting falls into place, Paul. My turkey hunting elevated when I started calling in these competitions, because now I'm learning the sounds of the wild turkey fluently, but I'm learning the place for it in the woods. When I first started turkey hunting, I remember the calling sequences that I would do in a day, and I was doing fly down cackles in the middle of the day when they should be used early in the morning, And so
right.
I found that each call has its place, and if you put these calling sequences together at the right time of the day, your hunting is going to increase, 30-40% at least.
Very similar in duck hunting.
Yep. How are we doing on time, Paul?
We are right up against the clock at 6:26.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. A couple of minutes, and then I've actually got some work to finish yet tonight. So when we get off here, I'm not getting to take it easy. I gotta get to work.
Michael McDonald says something that I don't believe is true, and that you love duck, Rick. Well,
99.9% of what he says automatically is not true. So just to begin with, and that falls in that 99.9%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because you and I have talked about that, and you're like, no.
Yeah. Go ahead, Edwin.
Does Michael still want to go to Nebraska late season? I haven't contacted him about it. I got to get a hold of that guy.
Well, that's for a phone call later on. So,
right.
You know what? We next week I've got an old running buddy of mine, and actually in the next couple of weeks I've got a couple of really neat surprises for you. But next week, an old running buddy of mine is going to be on the show, Mr. Philip Vanderpool.
Awesome.
He's from Arkansas, and he's a hunting machine. And I think, and I'll confirm this, but the week after, I believe I have legendary turkey hunter Eddie Salter coming on the show, which is a show that you're not going to want to miss. And then we got Brenda Valentine coming back here relatively quick too, and she's always
the one guest still in Arkansas.
Philip Vanderpool still lives in Arkansas. Yes.
What area? North, south, east, west?
He is in Harrison.
Oh, you might talk to him if he wants to come into the studio. We could set him up here.
All right. Well, I will ask him. But anyway, that is next week's guest.
I never get to use my studio.
And
Not
I
for
ran
the show.
then I ran with Philip for years and years and years. But anyways, listen, guys, I've got some things I got to get done. I know Edwin's got to get some things done. He's got to finish some calls up for this weekend. Edwin, I appreciate being on the show tonight as usual.
1 of 5, baby. 1 of 5.
And we're going to sign and number those, and there's only going to be 5 of them. So, Paul, anything on your end?
I got a lot of stuff, but it doesn't pertain to this.
All right. Well, I'm going to take us on out of here, guys. Once again, we certainly appreciate you coming along with us, and make sure you check out next week, Wednesday, live 6 to 6:30 on The Hunt with Alpine Optics. My special guest, Philip Vanderpool. And for now, everybody, appreciate you coming along. Good night.